Brown, Indian American, Christian. These are some of the elements of who I am. Now, I have deep roots in my culture, which is a system of learned and shared symbols, languages, values, and norms that distinguishes one group from another. I grew up in a household and community where the Indian culture was a part of my everyday life, from the food I ate, to the language I spoke, which is called Malayalam, to the church denominations and the beliefs that were instilled into me by my parents. Now, the ability to speak Malayalam is important to me because I have older relatives back home in India that I like to speak and communicate with, and that is the only language that we both can talk to and understand. Some norms that I learned was that it is rude to say no when hosts offer you food, that it is important to wear respectful clothing in churches and other events, and when elders walk into the room, that we had to stand and be respectful. Being in the Indian community is a part of my co-culture, which is groups of people that share values, customs, and norms related to mutual interests or characteristics beyond national citizenships. Now, I'm part of a specific Indian community, and we all share the same values and customs because we are taught through our Christian beliefs that it is important to show who we are, and it is shown to us by our loved ones. Now, the best way I know how to self reflect is to look inward and see how I can best understand myself is through something called the Johari window. Now, some words that would describe myself would be caring, friendly, introverted, loving, self conscious, and sentimental. This makes it easier to understand who I am and to relate to others. Now, self concept is the idea that you have about who you are, your identity, the ability to change and develop, your personality, culture, and gender roles. Now, I am a 24-year-old college student who has grown in maturity and who's still working hard to achieve my goals. Now, since college has begun, I've grown tremendously. I have associated with good people who have my best interests for me and that want to make me a better person and a better version of myself. My goal is still to complete school and enter the healthcare field. I tend to keep to myself, but I genuinely care through the interactions I have with people, and I am loyal to my family and friends. My Indian culture taught me to always put family first, and being a male, it is expected that I get a good job and are able to provide for my future family. Now, self-fulfilling prophecy is expectations from others that influence the person to act and communicate in a way that makes expectations reality. Being born from Indian-born parents who grew up poor, who came here to America and worked hard to have a better life, they instilled into me hard work and dedication and to push myself to limits to work hard and get the education that I want and a good job that will make me live comfortably. They have expectations that I will finish school and begin working in the healthcare field in the upcoming years. I tend to not be the best communicator, so my parents stressed me how I need to communicate more clearly and slowly to others. Being a communicator as a healthcare provider is very important because it gives confidence to the patient that you know what you're doing. Image management is an ongoing practice of evaluating the impact of your appearance on you and others. Now, this is important to me because when I do something bad or do something good, it's not only shows my image, but the image of my parents and my loved ones as well. So I don't want to sully our reputation or make us all look bad. I try to be as authentic as I can, and I try to put on a positive image and really control how I behave. Now, I have a lot of influences on my perception, which is factors that shape or distort perception. Growing up in the Indian community, I also saw the negative aspects as well. Our community is guilty of looking down on people who don't have successful jobs or don't get married. And growing up in the age of social media, my views and attitudes have also grown and changed how I view things. The reason I communicate the way I do is because I live in the middle of two worlds. I was born here in America and I grew up in an American culture where I mastered the English language, and also on the other hand I grew up in an Indian home and frequently visit India where I've grown in my language and mastery of Malayalam. Now, these 24 years of living in both worlds has grown my communication a lot, and it gives me the ability to speak both English and Malayalam. Now, the Now, I have a lot of influences that really guided and made me the person I am. My parents, my grandmother, and my Indian community as well. On the other hand, living in America for the rest of my life, I understand how important it is to continue to grow in my English vocabulary and be able to have the confidence that I can talk to my superiors and have a voice and not fall into the background, because communication and being able to stand up for yourself is very important. Thank you.